Oh my, and we're live. Well. What a night that was. Oh, excuse me, gents. Thank you. Just gonna squeeze past the ponies. Squeeze over past you. Well, I don't think anyone expected that. Well, we did in a way. Because, of course, you know, Trump's chances of winning aren't zero. Obviously, this election is still pretty much all to play for. So, if there are any updates while this stream is ongoing, please do let me know. Like I say, I can't stop the stream and have a look at other things. By the way, we are experiencing pony traffic troubles this morning, so you know, thumb up for the ponies joining us in this wonderful stream today, as always. So, hang on. So, what has happened? What has honestly happened? Well, it definitely appears that, as we said, this is not over. The election is not over at this point. It is still in the balance, and I think it is going to be a nail biter. It could be maybe a week, maybe a couple of days before we actually find out what on earth is happening. We just don't know. Oh, good morning from Thailand there. Welcome. Of course, we're talking about the US elections. It's, yeah, absolute craziness last night. But we were hoping for, and I was hoping for, and I think everyone else was really hoping for a Biden landslide. To absolutely ensure that Trump couldn't pull any shenaniganry, as we call it around here. Biden had to win in a pretty much decisive landslide. Obviously, that has not happened. And there's a couple of states, I believe, still in play. There's also a couple of state districts still in play of what happens with their vote decides where they send their electoral college votes. They're still waiting on those results. So, as I say at the moment, we don't know. You may remember on Monday, I did a video about the 4 things Trump could do to essentially steal the election. And it definitely looks like he's already going for 2 of them. Only a couple of, sheer moments ago, he essentially went out and declared victory. And he's falsely declared victory because all the pollsters are saying it could not swing your way at all. So that's the first thing that he's done. He's tried to essentially declare victory to try and muddy the waters more. And definitely we could possibly see reactions from his supporters. Obviously, if you were around in the 2000s and you remember the Bush v. Gore election, you'll remember the Brooks Brothers riots. Could we see something similar happen in the next coming days? Possibly. Like I say, it's one of those things of, we hope not. I seriously hope not. But only yesterday you had essentially Republicans and Trump supporters going out in their in droves essentially to block roads. So yeah, that is not good for American democracy. That is outright voter suppression. It's unbelievable. Oh, hang on, we've got something here. So, fear of socialism, threats of higher taxation, and the fact that Joe's nearly 80. Loaded Supreme Court. Yeah, that's why Trump was so desperate to get Amy Coney Barrett on the bench. And that's where I think it's going to go. In his fake victory claiming speech, he said he would take this to the Supreme Court, and he now has a majority on the Supreme Court. 3 of the justices he has picked. This is where we are at the moment. We still don't know. As I'm doing this, we still don't know who has won. If there is any news while we're still streaming, please do send it my way. But also, it's not all bad news. So even if Trump does win, from what we can tell, it definitely looks like the Democrats have kept control of the House, and they are possibly not far off of taking control of the Senate. They only need, at the start of this whole thing, they only needed 4 seats. They won Colorado, I believe it was last night. So that leaves them with 3 more seats. If they take those 3 seats, Trump might win the presidency, but the Democrats could come out with control of the Senate and the House. And that will be quite important. That will help decide a lot of things. So, has the Senate race already been decided? I walked out this morning and I tried to grab as much news as I can, but if the Senate has already been decided, I'm not sure. As far as I knew when I walked out, the Senate was still potentially in play. No, so far it's 47-47. So essentially, does that mean it's a hung majority then? That it's pretty much even now in the Senate? I think that's essentially what that means then. But what was the result we're looking at now? So it's 238 to Biden versus 213 to Trump. So, and we're still waiting for a couple of results. We're just got to see what happens. So at least one state is already in court demanding. Yeah, you're gonna see this throughout the day. You are gonna see this. I think not only throughout today, but tomorrow as well, and probably in the coming weeks. You're gonna see Republican-led people and people from the Republican Party go to the courts and essentially try and swing it for Trump. Like I say, I was hoping, I was hoping, I think like everyone else was, that this would just be a straight Biden win. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. I know apparently there were a lot of very, very close calls. The 2 races that I was very eager to keep an eye on were, of course, Texas and Arizona. And I think Texas ended up being very, very close. But, on the other hand, the Democrats did take Arizona. And that is quite big, because that is a traditional Republican southern state that is you know, flipping to blue. And that seems to be the fate of Texas as well. And Texas alone carries about, I think Texas carries about 35 votes if it does flip blue. So that could be quite big. Of course, someone coming in. Yeah, Trump is trying to get the votes to be stopped counting. He did say that in his speech to the Supreme Court, not a surprise. Like I say, on Monday when I made my video, he's pretty much done 2 out of the 4 things that he needed to do to steal the election. And that's the first one. He needs to falsely claim victory, to essentially start muddying the waters. This will give the Republicans extra time to go to not only the Supreme Court, but the lower federal courts, because Mitch McConnell has not only made sure to stack the Supreme Court in the Republicans' favour and the Conservatives' favour, but also the lower courts as well. Under Trump, McConnell has put in something absolutely insane that we've never seen before. Over 240 plus judges at the lower court level. Those are going to have incredible impact, and they will at some point come into play during this election as well. So, as we said, it's all to play for. We don't know which way this will swing. We don't know which way this is going to go. Biden did come out and say it's not up for him or Trump to decide who's the winner. It's up to the American people. Like I say, like many people, I wish it was Bernie Sanders who was the presidential pick, because if I were American, he would definitely be the guy that I wanted. But of course, he didn't win. The selection process, which is of course disappointing. And of course, you can talk about the problems of that, of course, within the Democrat Party. But Biden was the only option you had. So if we saw it constantly, the Bernie or busters of I'm not going to vote for anyone else apart from Bernie Sanders at the election. That was an absolutely ridiculous mistake to make, because for it in our own election just last year, of where you had Remainers probably most responsible for splitting the vote. So as this, Florida goes to Trump, Texas to Trump, with 6-4 points. So yeah, incredibly close races there. That was an incredibly close race, and I think that's the story you'll see repeated throughout the night. It was close races all over the place, and I don't want it's going to be one of those elections, I think, that is going to come back, and there's going to be lots of documentaries about what happened tonight and the coming days around it, definitely. And those will be interesting to see, definitely. But yeah, we just have to wait and see. That's the unfortunate position we're in. So the House so far, 181, Republicans 174. So yeah, it looks like the Democrats are going to keep control of the House. The Senate, unfortunately, looks like is going to go towards the Republicans, which is a shame, because I think they were very close. Like I say, they only needed, at the start of this whole thing, they needed 4 seats to take control of the Senate. And as far as I know, they picked up Colorado. That was That was the last time I looked at it last night. So they were literally 3 seats away from taking the Senate as well, by the looks of it. And I think, unfortunately, that could be the story of the US election, of Biden and the Democrats came this close to winning it. And unfortunately, that might just be the case. But you've also got, as was just said there, Trump going to the Supreme Court. He's also declaring victory, even though there is no case to call his victory. Yeah, Colorado was the GOP. Sorry, Colorado was the GOP seat in the Gang of 8 Intel committee. Was that the people who were pretty much responsible for the impeachment? I think it was around that. I believe it was. But yeah, it's just unfortunate that it's ended up like this. Yeah, this is what I think a lot of people are waiting on, the mail-in ballots. We knew right from the start that the mail-in ballots were going to be the big key player in all this. So it's just how many and how much GOP legal shenanigans, as someone put there, happens. I'll keep on referring to, again, the video I did on Monday, but Trump has already done 2 of the 4 things for essentially to win. We're just gonna have to wait and see. And like I say, this isn't over. It's definitely not over by a long shot. You know, the fat lady has not yet sung, and we're just gonna have to wait and see. Which is she's essentially there's not a lot other more than to say that. We're just gonna have to wait and see. And I think you had a lot of people. Sam Cedar last night, I was watching him just drifting in and out of sleep last night. He's still going through all of this. I know Max Robespierre was streaming last night as well, so I popped in there early on to wish him good luck. Ah, okay. Yeah, it is going to be long. I'll tell you that now. So yeah, Biden's once again won the popular vote. So that's the Democrats once again winning the popular vote. But the guy who got the least votes may end up winning. Definitely, as we said before on this channel, you know, democracies are not set in stone, and they constantly need to be updated, refreshed, and just, you know, brought forward. They cannot be left, you know, back in time. It's the same with our system as well. I've said that, you know, the left in our country really, really needs to get proportional representation, and that's what we need to be pushing for. The next 4 years in the UK are all going to be about defeating the Tories. This whole thing with the stuff that's going on in Corbyn, it's an absolute shame, but the left in the UK needs to be bigger than just one person, and we need to move on, and we need to recognise that we need to unite, defeat the Tories, and get proportional representation put in. That should be the left's plan, especially in the UK. Obviously in the US, it needs to be very, very much different, because obviously a different system. Getting rid of the electoral college is definitely going to be one way in which can be done, but that is going to be incredibly difficult to do, but not impossible. Oh, so is this an update? House so far, Dems 100, 184, Republicans 175. So they've definitely kept control of the House. It was just I was hoping that they might flip the Senate as well. However, that definitely doesn't seem to be the case, which is the upsetting thing, of course. Like I say, we were hoping, and I was hoping that they would definitely flip that, because that would definitely help, certainly improve things for this. But of course, where do we go from here? You know, back in 2016, I said to a lot of people, Trump might be bad, and yet he is incredibly bad for not only American democracy, but, you know, if he wins, and he did win, he's going to do and influence a lot of people, and you've seen that very clearly in action from the Republican Party and all this. So, but the worrying thing is who comes after Trump. That's the worrying thing, because Trump's an idiot. Imagine for a second if Trump was somewhat halfway competent. You know, America would be 10 times worse than it is now. And that's the worrying thing. They need 218 to control the House. Well, it does look like they're on the way to winning it, so we'll hope that that's the case. Because I think if Trump loses this election, someone else will very clearly come along and essentially take what Trump did, but do it 10 times worse. And even if Trump loses tonight or wins tonight, that person could very well be waiting in the wings regardless. It definitely does seem that there is no, you know, there is no going back to normal, essentially, in US politics. And this does have an effect on other countries. There might be some Americans tonight watching, or while watching this now, thinking, why is a Brit talking and interested so much in the US elections? Well, I'll tell you why. A little thing called Brexit. We heard only just, last week even, that our fate for, well, essentially whether we would do a deal with Europe, or essentially whether we would essentially go no deal and go with Donald Trump and try and get the, quote, best possible trade deal that we could out of him. And like I say, there is no good trade deal with America. It adds nothing to our GDP, does not make up for what we lose from losing trade with Europe. Yeah, Tucker Carlson doesn't surprise me. But yeah, that's why, you know, I did a video yesterday. Probably the most important thing to happen this year in politics, in UK politics, is the US election. And you are right, we all are affected by who's in charge in the US. It is the most important, you know, strongest, economically strongest, democratic country in the world. But unfortunately, you know, this is that wooden seat that everyone's been sitting on for years, promising that they would update it or put some new legs on or do something with it. And essentially every year that seat, well, every 4 years that seat got sat on, and it's just been creakier and creakier and creakier till we get to now. And of course the worrying thing is you know, it does make you are probably, well, hopefully, but you could be in the very well process of witnessing right now that it does not take a lot to steal the US election. That's the whole thing. So hang on. Space Canuck. I don't know. Trump will be a tough act to follow in every way. I think Trump 2.0 will be a disappointment, but Trump won't settle for just 2 terms. Probably not. And you are right, it's going to resonate for decades. It's going to be absolutely, insane, but that's where we are. We've seen our own, the UK on this, on the Brexit, be completely split. All because a very, very small minority wanted to leave Europe. And they are going to affect this country economically for decades. We're already starting to see the effects, and it is going to be, you talk about doing a live stream for, for the presidential election. It's very tempting to do a live stream on, on the 31st of January to essentially watch the chaos unfold at the borders, at the ports, and just what's going to happen there. But there you go. Trumpism will be discredited as soon as people realise it doesn't work out. The problem is, it's not always the case. Oh, Max is in the stream. Hi. I presume, Max, like you and me, you're, well, disappointed that it didn't go the way of a landslide. I was hoping personally for a landslide. Arizona flipped, which was good. Texas apparently was very, very close. But I think you were right on your stream where you said that it probably wouldn't be until the next election, 2024. So, yeah, and like I say, at the moment, it's still all to play for. But like I say, the video that I did on Monday, Trump has so far done 2 out of the 4 things that he could do to steal the election. He's falsely claimed victory, and that he's going to use the Supreme Court essentially to help him throw out thousands, if not millions, of ballots. And that's where we are, potentially. That if Trump does that, there could be millions of ballots just get thrown out. And that's what essentially the next couple of days are really going to be about, those mail-in ballots. How many people get them counted, and can the Democrats stop the Republicans from essentially using legal jargon and legal chicanery to essentially steal the election? That's where we are, and it's insane. Yep. Yeah, you are. It is scary what's going on in the Supreme Court, because the Republicans and the Conservatives now enjoy a majority of pretty much 1. And we are, and you've only got to look back at some of the recent decisions on the Supreme Court have literally been by 1. And we've already got words that the far-right Republicans, the fundamentalist Christians among the party, are going to try and get Roe v. Wade overturned. Oh, thank you very much there, Max. Oh, keep up the great work. We should do a Brexit disaster live stream. Get Phil involved too. I've said this before. We definitely need to do a live stream where I think we just go back over just the 4 years. We go right back to the start of 2016, and we just go through this whole thing, and we just go, right, we look at what happened. Here's what happened in 2016. Here's the mistakes we made. Here was the results of what happened, and just go through it all and just, try and work out a path forward. Essentially for the left. And it might be a lot of, crystal ball gazing, but I'll tell you what, two Northerners in a live stream, tell you what, will put the world to right. And especially, I'm looking forward, if I ever do get a chance to do a live stream with Phil, because he's from Rotherham and I'm from Barnsley. And I'll tell you what, we're going to have a lot of Yorkshire banter between the two of us. That will be fun. But back to the US elections, we're essentially just waiting now on these mail-in ballots, and we don't know where they're going to go, what impact it's going to have. And of course, you've got the Republicans doing all this crazy stuff. But that's it. We just don't know what's going to happen. We're just going to have to sit and wait and just see. And it's just so worrying. If I was an American right now, I would be out protesting, and I'd be keeping my ear to the ground of any Republican in my state that was trying to overturn mail-in ballots. And the second I heard something, I would put out the word and try and get out there and try and get protesting. Just try and touch there. Sorry. Walked into a web there. There. Oh, sorry. I might eat a spider there. But yeah, that's the whole thing now. It's all about stopping that recount the Republicans want now, or stopping any more stuff said. So, back to some more comments here. Trump wants to stop the counting because they are afraid we'll shift to Biden. Exactly. If Trump is somehow successful... Oh, so what's that? CNN says in about 35 minutes we'll see who wins Michigan. That will be important. That will definitely be important to see who wins Michigan. That could definitely help decide things. Because I think... yeah, you're right, Trump doesn't have the power to stop them, but he has the majority on the Supreme Court, Max. That's the worrying thing. And as I said earlier, a lot of Supreme Court decisions very recently, in the past year or so, have been of a majority of one. And now the Republicans have, well, they've got a majority. And yeah, fingers crossed for Michigan. And yeah, they have got to count those mail-in ballots. But that's what Trump is going to go now to the Supreme Court and try and stop. I don't think it's just going to be in the Supreme Court either. Because as we said earlier on, Mitch McConnell has done an absolute amazing job in appointing lower court judges as well. He's managed to appoint something insane, like over 240 lower court judges, where in the Obama years combined, Obama only appointed like 184. This is it. Well, that will be the interesting thing. What does Trump go to the Supreme Court with as this justification? And you've got to think, he's put 3 of those guys in power. And I think they will be expected to vote with Trump. And that's just what we've got to wait and see. Like I said, this is the thing. It's a waiting game. And we've just got to see and wait what happens. Oh, Max is gone. But thank you everyone else for joining us today. Like I say, it is a disappointment. I think many people like myself were hoping for Trump leading with 5.1 points. Yeah. It's, like I say, I think unfortunately this could be the story of this election. That the Democrats tried, they came close and didn't win. Yeah, they are just going to use the exact. Yeah, they are just going to use the exact same argument for it. And you know, it's going to be insane. Georgia might flip too. Is this because of the mail-in ballots? Like I said, that's what we're waiting for, the mail-in ballots. But like I say, it could be a week, really, before we fully know the results of this election. And like I say, a week is a long time in politics. A long time in politics. So anything could happen. Anything could happen. Not only with the rest of the votes to come in from actual physical in-person voting, but of course you've got the mail-in ballots as well. A lot of those still to be counted. A lot of those we're going to still be waiting on. And worryingly enough, a lot of them could be very well subject to Republican, stuff. This is why I said back in, I even remember going back in 2016 and even on, streams like this and telling people, you might not like Hillary Clinton, but not only was there a Supreme Court seat up for grabs because the Republicans had stopped Obama for over a year appointing one, using, ironically, the justification that it's not Obama's to nominate because they were a year away and that they should let the winner decide one. Of course, that all those arguments quickly went out the window when Trump was in charge and essentially could pick his choice and essentially get them a majority on the Supreme Court. Oh, what was that? Trump is leading with Georgia with 2.2. Oh, 94% reported. Atlanta hasn't even been counted yet. Ooh. Yeah. Has Trump won yet? No, not yet. Like I say, this is all to play for. I believe Biden is ahead of Trump. From what I remember, someone posted it recently. Can't remember how much ahead he's by. So Biden is ahead, Trump is behind, but we've got a lot of states in play, a lot of votes still to count out there, being the mail-in ballots. That could change a lot of things. It might not change a lot of things, but who knows? It's going to come down to PA. There's over 120k mail-in ballots at the post office, and the post office general refused to deliver them before the count ordered deadline. That's yeah. You need to get to your post office then and start protesting. Start telling them to tell it. North Carolina is too close to call. Clinton would have faced the same roadblock. Probably not. Because the Republicans had been using the justification that whoever won the next presidency would get to decide that Supreme Court seat. So that would just essentially get thrown back in the faces. And there is no way that the Republicans, from what we've seen from this year, there is no way the Republicans could have blocked so long one Supreme Court seat. No way. Let alone two. Just wouldn't have happened. Yeah, of course, that's what we're all worried about. That Trump. Good Lord, another 4 years of Trump. Oh, um, tell you what, if I was an American political YouTuber, I don't know whether I'd throw my hat in or not for another 4 years of Trump, because it's already insane. Yeah, Florida's a disappointment. I think Florida was close. But I think, as I've said before, I think that could be the story of the night. That the Democrats came close, but not close enough. I think that could essentially be the story. Like I say, it all depends on these mail-in ballots. All depends on those mail-in ballots and how many, and essentially, how much legal tomfoolery the Republicans get up to between probably now and possibly the next week, because it ain't going to be decided anytime soon. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it still hasn't been decided by Friday. But who knows? True, it's not over yet, so we have to wait and see. So I am hopeful that Biden will win. I've still got my fingers crossed. We just have to wait and see. But I'm hoping that that's not the story of tonight. I really am. But unfortunately, I fear that it might be. But like I say, you are right. Keep up the hopes. It is still all to play for. And we've just got to wait and see, which is the unfortunate thing. I keep on saying it, but there's nothing much else you can say other than we're just got to wait and see. Anyway, someone's just commented here, Barkin. So I know some dark secrets about this. Farage is a crap idiot as well as Johnson, and we'll be getting some good hiding from things. Well, the Hat Man, you don't have to be disappointed if you read the Bible. It says about Biden slightly ahead in Wisconsin. Good. Yeah, the Dems lost Florida, but it was a close race, I think. I think they were either 4 or 6 points ahead, I think Trump was. I think it was a very close race from all heard. A 1,000k votes in Trump's favour in Georgia. Yeah, this is it. We're just going to have to wait and see now, and essentially wait and see what happens. It's just one of those things of, but there's not too much else we can do. But anyway, there may very well be a lot of Americans watching. Good morning to you. You may have been waking up to this. Some of you may have been up all night watching the results roll in. Oh, it's official. Wisconsin has flipped. Is that true? Can someone confirm that? How does that change things? What's the Electoral College at now, if that is true, if that has changed? So ABC News feels that Biden has Wisconsin. Biden leading with just 0.3 points. So at the moment, that puts it at 224 to 213. So Biden's still pulling ahead. Yeah, that's what we're hoping. Who was that from New Zealand? Hendrik. Yeah, that's what we're hoping, to be honest. That is what we're hoping. That's the stuff that could save us all. So we are at now. Just from someone here, Ian Ford, Biden is at 224 and Trump is at 213. So, oh no, has that changed then? So Biden is now at 238 to Trump's 213. Has that changed then? So Wisconsin hasn't been announced yet. NBC said it's still too close to call, but Biden is leading. Good. That's where we want to be. So I'm guessing the guy said that they were there. If that is that flip, that would put Biden at 238. So that will put Biden in a very strong lead then. I think someone said Michigan was meant to be announced soon. Oh, that is as it is currently 238. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, someone said that Michigan was about to be announced very soon. And of course, I think that's another 10 electoral college votes, I believe. So is that Associated Press has it at 248? And only 89% Wisconsin is reported, right? So as you can still say, I keep on saying it, but it's still all to play for. So it's not all doom and gloom. It really isn't. And like I say, we are waiting on those mail-in ballots, and we're just gonna have to wait and see. It's the annoying thing, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. But like I say, any news, please do keep me updated. 95% of Wisconsin has been called. So someone's saying the count has been updated, that it is now 238 for Biden, 213 for Trump. So Biden still in the lead. And like I say, it all comes down to those mail-in ballots and what the Republicans are going to do next. And like I say, 24 hours is a long time in politics. 24 hours is a long time in politics. And the Republicans can pull a lot, I mean a lot, of stuff. Luckily, there hasn't been any violence, which I was worried that there might be, but luckily there hasn't been. You are potentially right, the Supreme Court could decide this election, and it will all be about those mail-in ballots. So, and like I say, the Republicans and the Conservatives have got a majority on the Supreme Court now, so they are going to use it. Of course, I think we do have... So Biden wins if he gets Nevada, Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. I thought hadn't Pennsylvania already been counted? Or not? Or how are we still waiting on the... are we still waiting on those? I'm not sure. We're still waiting for PA, right? Just got to still wait, right? It's that waiting game, unfortunately. Like I say, as we said, it's not... Yeah, that is the real trouble. What damage can Trump still do in the next 3 months? Well, we know that the far-right religious of the Conservatives are going to go and try and take down Roe v. Wade. That will absolutely be their crowning achievement. They've wanted to do it for years, and now they've got the Supreme Court to be able to do it. And like I say, if you look at a lot of decisions of the Supreme Court recently, they've always been literally by one. Biden has 11k lead in Wisconsin. I see Weaver Spell is delusional as always. Yep, time is on our side indeed with the postal votes, but the quicker they get in, the more quickly we can confirm this. We'll just have to wait and see. Partly because why the mail-in ballots are taking so long is because Trump knew this would happen, and essentially it would disenfranchise the vast majority of Democrat voters. So not only has he defunded the post office, but you've had even many post boxes throughout Democratic seats essentially just being taken away during this time. So the Republicans once again actively engaging in voter suppression. Not surprising. Pete not looking good, Biden down 13 points, right? Yeah, in some states, you are right. Some states can't start cross-counting until the ballots is closed. And you are right, yes, had the whole post office dismantled. So this just, again, leads into his whole, seemingly what Trump's election strategy was. Not to try and win it outright and honestly, because to get to a point of, this is an interesting thing I learned this week. Do you know that Donald Trump cheats at golf? This is it. This is one of the few sports where a referee doesn't actually exist. Everyone's expected to referee themselves, and yet Trump cheats at golf. For example, when everyone tees off, everyone's meant to wait at the tee spot, but Trump is notorious for, as soon as he's teed off, he jumps in his golf cart and speeds off. There's also the very interesting story where apparently Trump was doing like a team golf section, and he was like, they were all golfing together, and there was essentially pretty much apparent that they were going to lose. So apparently Trump barged into the house to demand that he had like the lowest cut and a trophy, to a point where a secretary of the club president ran into the bathroom, tipped out a vase that was full of flowers and water, and essentially awarded him that. Yeah, I couldn't believe that story existed, but yeah, and it's been confirmed as well. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Oh, hi there, welcome. Yeah, that is the big thing this year, that most states do normally deal with mail-in ballots, but not to this extent. And that's the big thing, that the post office was saying, we need more money and staff on call to be able to deal with this. But Trump has deliberately defunded them. So, hope Bojo will be forced to get an EU deal. And Democrats will be able to block the Trump deal in the UK. If there's no deal, that affects the NI protocol, because Conservatives and Brexit Party probably don't care for the people. Yeah, exactly. That's why, for many Americans wondering why I said so earlier on that this is probably one of the biggest events in the UK political calendar. Normally it wouldn't. If Brexit was not a thing, this would just be an election and we'd just be watching. Not with a lot of interest, but this time we do have a vested interest, because we know that Bojo will be trying, if Trump wins, he will basically go for a no-deal option with the European Union and essentially sink us economically and essentially try and tie us to economic dependence on the US. That's why we're here. And exactly as someone just said there, we do not want a Trump deal in any way, shape or form. The current Tory party is being run by free market fundamentalists who are absolutely hell-bent on trying to prove that Brexit is a thing. Just this week we had the whole soy sauce debacle, and we had them crowing about how wonderful the Japan deal was that they'd done. It isn't wonderful at all. It is just a bad deal overall, because once again, when you look at the fine print, it's not that good a deal. And we've been over that plenty of times before on my channel. Like I say, I've got videos covering that, so if you want to go and watch those, be my guest, and you'll find out more about our current predicament. But if you are an American and you want to find out more about just how god-awful the UK is going to get because of Brexit, then definitely subscribe to my channel, because if you do get Joe Biden, and I really do hope you get Joe Biden in, the UK is going to get absolutely humiliated next year, and the Brexiteers are going to be desperate to try and prove that Brexit was a success. And we've already mentioned the soy sauce debacle. Another funny note, but they are going to be desperate to try and prove it. And one of the things that they've pinned their hope to for Brexit being a success is essentially trying to get a US trade deal. And you've even had a Brexiteer come out this week and literally say that Boris was a fool for extending the deadline, and that he should have just dropped negotiation essentially and just gone straight for a trade deal and try and get one with Trump through as fast as possible. And that is terrifying, because we are the smaller partner in that relationship, and we will get absolutely screwed over. And it will be the reason why they want and so desperate for the deal is because, as I said, the free market fundamentalists, they want absolutely no regulation in the market at all. These are the people who have been chomping at the bit because of Brexit, because we are in the single market, and they hated all the rules and restrictions and regulations that they were under. So that's why, essentially, in the UK, why we're watching the US election with such eyeballs, because this could affect a lot of things for us and decide which way we go. Boris Johnson is probably about to announce his, quote, successful deal with the EU probably in the next week or two. And essentially it's going to be the most skinniest deal possible. It's not going to be good, but the Brexiteers will celebrate it as some sort of colossal win. Oh, what's this? Some news just in. They say about 23,000 absentees left from Green Bay, which means it'll increase it for Biden. Is that in Pennsylvania? Mail-in ballots. Like I say, I think that there's going to be two stories. That's Wisconsin, sorry, not Pennsylvania. So I think the stories of tonight's election are going to be two things. Either A, the mail-in ballots are going to win it for Biden, and Biden wins, and that this is essentially a long, drawn-out process that probably won't be over for at least a couple of days. And he's probably going to end up in litigation in the Supreme Court, which, let's face it, could swing either way. It's not what a lot of people want to hear, but because of that majority that the Conservatives now enjoy, it could go either way on the Supreme Court. So we've just got to wait and see on that. The other story of the night, which I hope it definitely isn't, is that the Democrats came close, but just not close enough. And I hope that's not the story of tonight. I'm very more likely that the story will be that Biden gets to flip possibly a lot of states with these mail-in ballots, and that's what decides it for him. and that the Republicans are going to try everything they can to try and either stop the count or just to outright throw out the mail-in ballots. What's this news? The ABC News prediction suggests that the House remain under Democrat control, so that's no UK-US trade deal. Yeah, you are right. Even if Trump does win, and we're trying to get a trade deal from Trump, the Democrats will sort of put a stop to it. But even then, it'll be interesting, because I'm not sure how much Trump himself could do to try and force a trade deal through, although I don't think there's a lot he could do, but you never know. Yeah, all right. The whole meaning of democracy is on the line. You are for one, because if Trump does lose, this could put a dent in this narrative that populist nationalists are winning elections around the world. But you'll notice that the coronavirus, it was those countries that had those type of people in power, that they are failing dramatically and failing all over the place. So if you count Nevada and Wisconsin, thank for Phil here, Biden would have about 254. So he just would need one more big state. Which states are left? Is it just Pennsylvania, I think? Like I say, this is going to be one of those things where it's going to continue throughout the night and throughout the day. Oh yeah, so Wisconsin, the Green Bay absentee ballot still to be announced, as someone just said. We are just waiting on what happens. Has Georgia been decided? So Michigan, Georgia, and Pennsylvania are still, from what being said, in play. So again, we have to wait, and this is the annoying thing. You're just gonna have to sit and wait. But the big news, of course, Arizona. The Democrats won Arizona, which was, I'm not sure if it's the time they've won it, or it was like the first time since 1992 since they've managed to flip it. But I guarantee you a lot of Republicans are looking at Texas after tonight and wondering how long they can keep control of Texas for. Of course, the other big thing that a lot of people aren't talking about is that 2020, after this election, is a new redlining year, a new redistricting year. So if Trump does win, then it's very likely that Trump will try and redraw the voting lines to essentially try and favour the Republicans more. That is a potential option that we could see. We could also see, if the Democrats get in, them try and redrawing them to make them more fair. Which is, again, something else that is in play for this US election. I was watching Sam Cedar yesterday, and that was, of course, one of the big things that was happening. Of course, the other big thing, I think, news we heard about was apparently there's a QAnon now in the Senate, I believe. I don't know if she'd won or not. What's this? The GOP won the Senate again, so it's another blocking for 2 years, the House election until 2024, and a run by Tucker Carlson. That is probably true. So there's a 100,000 vote difference in Georgia, apparently. So this one from Phil. Oh yeah, so yeah, this is the QAnon candidates. There are 11 QAnon candidates for Congress, and 3 will seriously win since they are in the lead. And they are running. Some they are running uncontested. Oh, Senate hasn't been called yet, from someone saying there. Like I say, I was hoping the Democrats would take the Senate. Of course, before all this, they only needed 3 seats, and of course the Republicans were defending the vast majority of their seats last night. So they only needed 4 seats to take control of the Senate. As I'm aware, I think they took Colorado, which means they only needed 3. So that could be something again interesting that we could see if they manage to take the Senate. Yeah, they needed 4 seats before all this happened, and as far as I'm aware, they took, I think it was Colorado, and that means that they need 3. Yeah, the Dems have 47 seats now. Yeah, and like the history of QAnon itself, it all dates back to the Tea Party, and you've got to wonder if this is something of a beast the Republicans created, and it just got loose on them. Because you may remember after Obama won, the Tea Party came about, and this was quote meant to be a quote grassroots. Yes, that is true. An uncontested QAnon candidate. That will be interesting, definitely, if he wins. That would definitely be interesting. I suspect we're going to get a lot of stories next year about their crazy activities in the Senate. Again, we'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, well, this is it. This is what has combined it together. You are right. It's a load of conspiracy theories have more come together. And ooh, we've got some doggos. Oh, hello. Morning. But yeah, like I said, the QAnon thing, when you trace back its roots, you are right, because it's really 2 things intersecting. First of all, it goes back to the whole Tea Party. And the Tea Party you are right, it was completely astroturfed by the Koch brothers at the time. And this was essentially their attempt to try and move the Republican Party. And I think this is partly what you see why the Republican Party has become so crazy. Because they were so successful in managing to, move the party in this more extreme right direction. And, you had... Oh, Michelle Bachmann, that was it. If anyone remembers her, she was crazy. She was absolutely insane. But this is the woman who had to come out and say that she was a witch. So you had all this, movement. And I think that under Obama, it sort of slowly started to die down. But, this is the but its supporters didn't. And they started to get into, crazy conspiracy theories about why, America was in the shape that it was. They blamed Obama for all their woes. And of course, Donald Trump comes along, their champion, and they all became MAGA supporters. And of course, under Trump, they once again started to believe the crazy conspiracy theorists that they were yeah, I'm trying to get the sun so you can see me, so that it protects my identity. Oh yeah, and you've got to throw flat earthers in there just for for the fun of it. But that's essentially what happened. It was essentially these crashing together of these two extreme groups. And that's where QAnon is really now. It has picked up the leftovers, shall we say, picked up from where the Tea Party left off, and just went off on drugs to, insane things. I mean, this is where the whole Pizzagate conspiracy comes from. And, it's just insane. And Alex Jones is also highly responsible for pushing a lot of this stuff. But, say what you want about Alex Jones, he's a complete madman. But, yeah. So overall, disappointing night in the fact that we didn't get a Biden landslide, or at least a decisive Biden victory. I'd have certainly preferred that for a complete Biden win. And like I say, the two narratives of which way this could go, again, it's really difficult to say. It'll either go that Biden wins through mail-in ballots, and that Trump tries to stop and get these mail-in ballots thrown out. That's what he's certainly going to try, and definitely in the Supreme Court. And that, when that happens, that could really go either way. Oh no, it was possible. Biden could have won in a landslide. It really was possible. If you look at 538, a lot of their election pollsters were saying, this is a 90% chance of a Biden victory, and that they were putting Donald Trump at 10% chance because he's not 538's a joke, right? Okay. Well, feel free to disagree with highly represented electoral politicians in America. Feel how you say. They weren't wrong in 2016. It was the media that got it wrong, not the pollsters. So have at what you will with that. But yeah, we were hoping for at least a landslide, or at least clear, decisive Biden victories for him to claim victory on this. And fortunately, that hasn't happened. Yeah, 83% chance to win. That's still quite a margin to win. But that doesn't mean that the other guy can't win. If you got 100 runners against Usain Bolt, that doesn't necessarily mean Usain Bolt might not win. Sometimes you just got to play the odds. Yeah, sorry, but I think Nate Silver probably definitely a lot more clear when it comes to the electoral votes. I said I'm certainly going to trust his opinion certainly over everyone else's. And like I say, they didn't say, one of their articles did say we're giving Trump a 10% chance to win. That doesn't mean he doesn't lose. Trump can essentially still win, but he can only win if, by what appears to be now, is if he stops the mail-in ballots. And that could be very likely. And already we're seeing that Trump has lost the popular vote again. So if Trump somehow does pull his, this legal tomfoolery, then we could have yet another president in the USA who was not elected by the popular vote. Nope. Yeah, at the moment, this is the story that I think is definitely emerging around the country, that it has been incredibly close. And it is the mail-in ballots that are going to win it or lose it for Biden. We just have to see. Biden could potentially win. It's, he still does have a path to winning. It all depends on what these mail-in ballots saying. And I know a lot of you don't want to place too much, but who was it saying we've got a Democratic county somewhere? I think it was it Wisconsin or one of them that was trying to still counting, could technically win. And someone saying there's 100 million early mail-in votes still to be counted. It is still all to play for, I'm afraid. We just have to wait and see what these just have to wait and see. Yeah, they're probably not going to change Texas or Ohio, but those aren't the states that he might need to win. So, I think we're going to leave it there today, to be honest. Like I say, 24 hours is a long time in politics, and a lot could happen. And not only that, but a week is even longer in politics. And I don't think it's going to be sorted anytime soon. Biden definitely does look like he is going to win. The only reason I think Trump will win now is because if he's already claimed victory early, falsely, which is what we said he would do. So that's one thing. The other thing, he's definitely going to use the Supreme Court to try and pull some chicanery. So yeah, you've got that, essentially. And it's still all to play for, still all up in the air, and we're just going to wait and see. So, like I say, thank you very much for joining us on this impromptu election walk. Like I say, I was hoping to certainly at least deliver some more definitive news, but as we've pretty much been saying all the way around, we're just going to have to wait and see. So I'll leave you with that very positive news that we are just going to have to wait and see, and it is very likely that Biden will be the winner and the president of the United States, and that is going to have huge implications on Brexit and the direction in which Boris Johnson and the Brexiteers are going to go. But we'll definitely be talking about news of that type of nature on Saturday. We'll probably be releasing more videos about what's going on in the meantime, as well as more Brexit related and UK political content and just what the hell's going on over here. So with that said, enjoy your day, enjoy the rest of your mornings, go out, have some fun, and we'll see you all very soon.